Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, how are we getting on? In today's video we're building a townhouse just outside of Charleston. This is an idea I've had floating around for a little while, and it's sort of inspired by the townhouses you see in London and cities like that, although limited by the resources we have available in 76, but I'm quite happy with how this turned out. I do hope you'll enjoy as well. So here we go, just outside of Charleston. You can see the finished product there. So there's the camp just there. We are due north of Fortnite Industrial Headquarters and Charleston Herald there, just across the way from Charleston Station, as you can see. It's quite a common area to build, so a bit of a problem with logging in here, but it is what it is. Due south, as you can see there, are flatwoods as well. Right on the edge of the road, just across from the station here. So, just so you can see where the camp unit is, just back from the road edge here, in the sort of open area between a tree and a stump, smack in the middle. And we'll start by getting the foundation in, funnily enough. So the idea here is to have this foundation line follow the edge of the pavement. It doesn't quite go according to plan, but it's close enough. So this is going to mark out where the porch will be first. In some ways, although the idea here was to build two townhouses and knock them together into a single house, in some ways it might have been easier to build just the one, given the space we have available, but I'm quite happy with the results, so it is what it is. So we'll get the foundation for the main part of the building in next. I'm going 3 back here, although if you want to save yourself some hassle, put 4 back, because I actually had to add an extra layer later on, as you'll see in just a moment. Well, got the foundation in. We'll take this front row off, so you can see we're 4x3 now, although 4x4, as I say, is the way to go. And we'll stick the foundations on the front for the porch area, veranda. Not really traditional to have a veranda on this type of building, but it breaks up the front edge that would otherwise look very, very bland. So, nice and easy, we've got that on the front. We'll get some walls in. Plan A here was to have the two houses made out of different materials so that they look like two separate houses. So differentiate it a bit more clearly. Unfortunately, that didn't quite keep the picture I was looking at, the idea I was going with, and it ended up with things not looking all that great, so I swapped it out a little bit later on. We're basically going to change it so it'll be entirely wooden on the ground floor and entirely brick on the floors above. But you do it any way you like, it's mostly a stylistic thing. So outer walls in place, as you can see, we've got wooden on one side, as I say we're going to change, and start brick on the other. However, one of the big things with this build is I want to have multiple walls inside with wallpaper on both sides. So the trick to do that is to put door frames in, and then you can double up the walls like this. So as you can see, we've basically got the interior surface facing outward of the wall on each side. Basically allows you to have wallpaper on each side. You can only do that by putting doorways in, doubling them up like this, and then going into the swap out function and swapping them for regular walls. So you've got store scrap swap thing at the bottom. Replace, rather. See, we replace them with walls, and there we go. Two double-sided walls that will allow us to put the wallpaper on. In case you missed all the details of doing that, I'll be doing it about 3 or 4 more times, so bear with, you'll soon see what I mean. Get a doorway in so we can actually get inside the house, and some windows. These windows are kind of similar, so in that regard, if you did want to have them made out of separate materials on each side, you could certainly do that and have it look alright, but I preferred the change I'm making in a minute, and it makes the windows match on each floor as well, so that definitely adds to the aesthetic a little bit. So for the stairs, for this ground floor I'm using the ones with frames, which I don't much like, but they do allow you to put the staircase closer even to the wall, which means we've got a more functional entrance corridor here, sort of hallway. We'll swap it out for ordinary ones further up because I've never figured out how to stack these staircases yet. But there we go. So for this internal wall between what will be the living room and the hallway, because of the staircase with the frame, I can't actually double up on that. So we're just going to have the external surface facing into the hallway and then the wallpapered one inside what will become the living room, the sitting room. However, on this back wall, we can double it up, so let's do that. Okay, just swapped out. You can see at the back here, that back room that we're now standing in is way, way too small. So that's why we're going to have to expand things a little further back in a minute. To say, if you've been on the wall, you'll have done so when you put the foundation in initially and saved yourself a bit of work later on. So we'll get this doorway in and some walls. It's been a little uncooperative. All the server lag on this one. As you see, it does have to be just outside of the area where the stairs are. So we can't quite double it up, unfortunately. But again, on this back wall we can, so a little hard to see there, but we have succeeded. We'll swap those back out again. And there we go. So, up onto the first floor. I'm going to get the floor in, nice and easy. There we go, make sure everything lines up. And we'll put the walls in. So I'm going to skip over the very repetitive putting in of the walls and stuff like that. There's a few bits that I've cut that were faffing around as well, which I know is not to everybody's taste perhaps, but it saves a lot of repetition and even more confusion, so it also keeps the video to a sensible length, so needs must. But you can see pretty clearly what I'm doing. It's simple enough. It was kind of harder to do the first time than it is to do once you know what you're doing, so once you actually get into it, it's not too bad. Again, on this floor we're going to double up the wall again. Still see the door frames on the back there. We'll hop over the other side and change them out in a moment. So what I'm doing here is trying to figure out where I want this next staircase to go. As I say, I can't really stack those ones with frames on top of each other. I know it's possible to do, but I've never quite figured out how. So I'm going to have to make do with the centrally positioned ones here. For some reason, it won't allow me to snap it in running from the back to the front. So all the staircases are going to have to go front to back. I have no idea why. I think there's probably a way around it, but as it turns out, this works quite well, so I don't mind too much. Hop over the railings, head around here. Swap these walls back out again for walls with no doorway. Go. Wallpaper both sides again now. And we'll put the next staircase in on this side of the house. Or in this house, depending on how you want to look at it. Go, back up another floor and we'll get the ceiling floor on. There we go, nice and simple. As you can see, everything is mirrored between the two houses. Get the outer walls on again. And put some more doorways down the centre again, because I want to double up the internal walls again. Swap those out. Pop over the top, as soon as I've got my marsupial. We go. Swap these ones over again. And there we go. You don't need to worry too much about the fact that the brick's clipping through the wood there. Doesn't look ideal right now, but once you put wallpaper on it, it disappears, so not a problem. And that's where we sort of are with the main structure at the moment. As I say, I'm going to swap out the sort of split down the middle for one that's horizontal just above the ground floor. You'll see what I mean in more detail in a minute. But first, we need to extend the back of the house because this back room is too small. So off come all the walls at the back, extra layer of foundations in, and then we'll put the walls back on, following the same old pattern. There we go, back walls in, and now we need to put the final floor on, which is basically going to be a loft conversion. The idea with most of these houses, if you look at pictures particularly of London townhouses, which is what I was going off, you will see that there is basically a loft conversion in almost all of them, certainly the most popular design. You'll see the roof slopes back a little bit, which is kind of hard to achieve with the tools we have available, but we're going to do our best. So here I'm going to need to double up the height of these sloped roofs, which the game doesn't like very much. And the reason we've got gaps at the edge of the floors here is I was messing around trying a few different things out that just didn't work, so don't worry too much about that. The easiest way to do this is to put the walls in at the ends, and then also in the centre as well, and put the roofs on last of all, which makes kind of sense when you think about building a house. But it is actually the easiest way of doing it, because otherwise you have to kind of chop and change all the time, which I had to here, so bear with. But having the walls on allows you to support the roofs, because the game doesn't like you piling two slanted roofs one above the other. So if you've got a wall in, it will allow you to do it, as we'll see in just a moment. See, I can now do it. The other thing is, if you've got floors running all the way to the wall that you want to connect the bottom of these slanted roofs to, then the floor gets in the way and you can't put the roof on. So having the wall will allow you to bypass that without having to take floors out and put them back in again. So it just makes it a little bit easier and smoother to do. So it still works this way around, it's just a bit more fiddling around. I forgot to put these floors back in, so we'll do that now. Yeah. We'll stick the central walls in. Because we've only got half-height walls, I can't double them up here, I can't put doorways in, so this side is going to have an exposed brick wall as a kind of feature wall, whereas the other side will be wallpapered. Plug up the last few gaps. Yeah. Here you have to make sure you... No, actually you don't. But I did put the... I think you have to put those corner wall pieces on the triangle ones before you put the roof on, or it might not let you do it afterwards. If it doesn't, then you know what the problem is. Take the roof off, put the wall in first. I can't remember because I didn't actually do it, I just avoided it in the first place. So back over to the other side, close up the last couple of gaps, because these are on the end, they'll be fine. And there we go. Now we have all of the walls and roof in place for our two houses. We need to knock through to make them into one. First, let's have a look at this from the outside. As you can see, I've already swapped out the vertical split for a horizontal one, so we've got a wooden ground floor and then brick the rest of the way up. It just suits the design with the sort of London townhouses a little more. We can knock that living room through, or the two living rooms through, into a single room. Make this two houses converted into one. And we'll be doing something similar here. So we're on the first floor here, and as you can see, I can't snap a wall to the top of the staircase, or at the top of the staircase. Not sure why, just weird game rules. So we're going to have to sort of work around the corner here. And again, we're going to be doubling up. So double up these doorways, go around the corner. Use wooden walls inside. It just looks a little bit better for these walls. The main sort of supporting walls, as it were, are going to stay as brick. But again, you can kind of do that any way you like, just whatever suits your style. So we're now going to knock through this bedroom into the other house and repeat the same process on this side. So just going around the corner again with double walls, or double doorways that will convert into walls. There we go. We have a door on each side of the room, and the same with the living room downstairs, just because keeps the two houses vibe, two houses knocked into one vibe. There we go, change the walls over. Don't need to do that one because it's going to stay as a doorway. It's the bedroom done. Up one floor further, and we're going to put bathrooms in. I say bathrooms in plural because to match it up with being two houses converted into one, we're going to have one on each side. In a bit of a contrast to my usual MO of not having a bathroom at all. So we'll swap one of these double walls out for a wall and leave the doorway there. And then back over to the other side to do the same thing. And that completes our structure. Again, we're mirroring the layout from the other side as well. Doors in the middle rather than on the outside edge. So, we'll have a look at the decorated thing. You'll be able to see more clearly what I've done. So, here we go. Nice clear veranda there. Stuck a couple of fast snack flags out the front and a few little flower pots just to give it a bit more character. This distance it's kind of hard to tell, but we do what we can. We'll head up onto the veranda. I did originally have it separated into two halves, but if it's going to be knocked through into a single house, it makes sense to take out the central divider as well, so I did that. Come inside. Thoroughly wallpapers, as we can see. The skeleton emerged from nowhere, not quite sure why. Don't even recall it being there when I put the foundations in, so that's a bit weird. A few of the new stone textured wallpapers as well give it a little bit more of a different character. I really like that. For our little kitchen area here. Townhouse out the back door. Little space that we've got left behind the house are fenced off and just turned into a little kitchen garden. You won't see it very clearly here, unfortunately, but just on this end of the house here, we've got a little lean-to structure that's got our generators in it. Use the old run the wires through the doorway and then turn them back into walls trick so that I could keep it nice and sealed off. Move back down towards the front. Stone walls go quite well with the wooden sidings, I felt, so it seems we're stuck with the outside surface of the wall on the inside of the corridor there. we have a fully decorated living room. Still quite small, but very comfortable. A couple of new wallpapers. We've got the bar there, which is a White Springs bar, along with two of the new Fastnacht beer stein displays. They're basically the same as the bar, but a little smaller, just to give it a little bit of a sideboard at the back there. And over into the other house. Gone for a wooden panelling on one side with a brick wall on the other. Contrast is quite nice. And dark stone walls, or wallpaper here. And instead of having a kitchen on the side, I figured they've stripped it out and turned it into a workshop. We needed somewhere to squeeze in our workbenches, so with it being two houses knocked into one, they don't really need two kitchens. I'll head up to the first floor. So for these sort of stairwells, the rooms at the top of the stairs, it was kind of difficult to figure out what to do in here. I've decorated them up as nicely as I can and figured sort of a sitting area on the first floor, maybe a little area to read or study, something like that, would go quite well. We'll move into the master bedroom. Also use something a little different for the external walls and then have wallpaper around the internal section where the bed is. Then we've got that green monster Grafton wooden walls on the outside. More of the same wallpaper. I haven't actually got all of the casino wallpapers and I'm not a big fan of them. There's a new Xion one that looks quite good, but that one's a little bit nicer, so we've stuck with that. Head back out onto this little stairwell, which as you see I've gone for a reading, studying area on this side, rather than just a sitting room on the other. Put a doorway in between the two halves here, so you can pass between each house on each floor. Head up one more to this space. I wasn't sure what to do with, but I thought it made a reasonable place to squeeze our player vending in. So again, we've gone for the dark stone for the more practical rooms. A rough stone wall on the end there. And our bathroom, complete with the appropriate amenities. Even got some bath mats. A little porcelain sink there on the end, as we haven't really got a bathroom sink. That's the closest we could manage. Player vending obviously not functioning, excuse the axe. But for the moment they're in place. Should be coming back tomorrow, hopefully, if all goes well with Bethesda's fix. And I've changed the windows out on this floor as well, just to give it a slightly different feeling a bit further up at the top. We'll go up to the top before we head through to the other side and have a look at the first half of the loft conversion, which is more of a child's bedroom type feel. So we've gone for the rocket rugs on the floor, little plushies and some Nuka-Cola lights. Nip back down and head through the other knock-through door. Have a look at our little music room on the landing on this floor. Heading up to the loft conversion on this side, as I said, we can only have single-sided walls up here, so we've gone for a brick feature wall up here. Although I could be wrong on that point, it might have been possible to do the opposite. Head back around, see a little bit of space up here, just decorated with the instruments for a little different tone. Bathroom number 2, again mirroring the one on the other side. So in a sense, not hugely wasteland in some ways, but something a little fun and a little different. Going for something a little more plush. Would have been nice to have a bit more of the White Springs furniture available for something like this, but as I haven't got all the plans yet, I may do with what we've got. So, I hope you folks enjoyed that one. If you did, please do hit those buttons for me. It's very, very much appreciated. Hope you'll join us for one of the live streams as well. We're having a lot of fun with Fastnacht and progressing through the settler quest line at the minute as well. Social media links down below if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, Twitter or Facebook. And if you're really enjoying the content, please do consider becoming a channel member as well. The support is very, very much appreciated. Thank you very much to everyone who's done that as well. And if you have a look down in the description as well, if you're interested in such things, we also have a merch store open as well if you want to grab some t-shirts, hoodies, that sort of thing. So thank you very much for that. For now, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.